welcome back to another episode of Wellness with Mo. Hi, my name is Mo, and today's episode we're going to talk about how we can accept failure with grace and why we put so much pressure on the term failure in our lives. So get ready for the new episode, and I hope you enjoy it. So today, as I told you, we're talking about failure. And as you know, as a society, we always frown upon failures, and we always want to be successful. However, it is known that most of us and most successful people in the world have failed at least once or twice in their life. And failures sometimes are big, sometimes are small. The problem is not to fail, is not just the failure itself. The problem is that we must learn from the lessons given, and not to fail again the same way in the same manner. And this is an issue that a lot of us face. We as human beings put a huge pressure on us because fear of failure, and because fear of failure is so intense on both the personal level and on the work. So why is it is failure a good thing in our life? Even on a relationship side, a failure for a man in the eyes of a woman is huge. But we need to understand that with mindfulness and with techniques and practices, we can turn our failures to success. And this is what I'm trying to talk to you today about. In my life, and definitely in your lives, we all have failed at some point or another. And the problem is when we grow older, we usually put that pressure and that fear into our children, that if they don't pass, they will fail. If they don't succeed, they will fail, either in their studies or in their sports or in whatever part of their life. And we need to stop this issue, and we need to wait and stand our ground and tell our children that failure is part of life. Without failure, we do not gain experience and we do not become wise. Without failure we don't learn our lessons. Without failure, we will not know how it is, what we learn from. Without failure, we will not succeed. Because trust me, those who think that if I listen to that person's advice or that person's directions or that person's ideas, I will succeed, and success is a straight line. No, it is not a straight line. Success is never a straight line. You can always ask the big names that we always hear upon: Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Einstein, Mandela, all those great individuals and leaders of our time, either in the business area or in the political arena or in the humanitarian area. Success is based on your failure. I have failed immensely. I have failed immensely in a lot of things in my life. I have failed immensely in a lot of issues in my life. But the most important thing is how I learned. The most important thing is excuse me. The most important thing is what are the lessons I learned. How I pull myself up back and steer in the path that I want to be. So failure is important for us to accept our successes. We must accept our failure, and we must accept every aspect. The problem is that on a business level, or on your professional level, failure in today's business is not widely accepted by companies whose cultures are not built on openness and vulnerability, but built on numbers like growth and revenues and sales and so on. So with that kind of toxic culture, failure is a given, and when we fail in these kind of cultures, we are frowned upon, we are punished, we are we are criticized for not doing enough work. However, failure in companies that like Apple and Google, that have open cultures, that are open in their cultures, that that accept vulnerability and accept failure, they encourage people to fail so that they can learn the lessons that they need to learn in terms of succeeding. So it is important on a professional level to learn from them. The problem is that sometimes we do not learn from our mistakes, and sometimes we tend to do the same failure over and over again. And those who do this failure over and over again do not learn from the mistakes and do not learn from the lessons that are given to them. They do the same thing, and that is the definition of failure: to do it again and again and again. However, failing once or twice, but learning from both sides is of great importance, and is of a tremendous help. And mindfulness, ladies and gentlemen, mindfulness can easily help us to overcome and accept failure with grace. Like I said in many of the episodes before, that the problem is that we are self-critical of ourselves. We are the biggest criticizers of ourselves. We are the ones who in our mind, in our unconscious, build this image that I'm a failure, that I'm no good, that no one's going to hire me in this job, or no one's going to love me in this relationship, or no one's going to accept me in this group because of my failures. But with mindfulness, and especially when we practice meditation on a routine level, on a daily level, every day, when we practice meditation and self-awareness and self-acceptance, we tend to come into terms with failure. We tend to open our arms and accept and acknowledge that failure is an important part of our lives. But more important, not just the lessons that you learn from failure, but the most important part is, what are the causes of failure? How can I avoid this? What led to this failure? What are the points that led to this? It is really important to put these issues and aspects in context, in a bigger picture. So failure in any aspect is really important. So what you can do in terms of mindfulness is be present, sit with yourselves, think, take a pause, take some time off, like 5 minutes, breathe in, breathe out, and figure and see, where have I gone wrong? What has happened to me? What are the steps that I took that led me to this point? If I took that other choice, would I have succeeded, or would I have failed? You have to sit with yourself, and you have to acknowledge and accept, not criticize, not judge yourself. You have to accept and acknowledge that these are the steps that led to my failure. So, ladies and gentlemen, failure is not something bad. Failure is lessons learned. You will not learn a lesson as hard as failing. You will not learn a lesson as hard as being out of a job and feeling that life is at the end, and that you have failed in your career. You will learn, you will pick yourself up. Again, I personally am still struggling on my journey. I fail days and weeks. I fail in certain areas, but I pick myself up. I learn. I think of what happened, and I try and do different steps and approach approach the issue in a different manner. So I hope today's episode was as interesting as it is. I hope you took the lessons from it. Failure is success, not failure is failure. And until next week, hopefully next week, we will have a new guest on this show. In this season, for those who just tuned in newly to this podcast, in this season our format has been changed. I hope that we can do it in this way. One week we'll talk about an issue. The other week we'll try and have a different guest talking about different issues. Hopefully the people that we bring in hopefully will inspire you as much as they have inspired me, and as much as I've followed them both on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So hold on to your horses and wait for me next week. Inshallah, we will have a new guest speaking of his or her journey, his or her ideas of mental health, how we can spread mental health around this region, in Egypt and in the Middle East, and on a global level. So hopefully you will wait for next week. God bless you. Be safe.